feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go,
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sports Report After Dark. I am your host, Seven. Dan the Dick Warner is waiting in the wings for us to get started. Sorry about not posting an episode last week. Dan and I, we really had a lot to talk about, but not very much of it was sports related. We just really wasn't a good week. We weren't feeling good, so we decided to take a week off so we could get you with a fresh episode this week that would have good content and actually make sense. Of course, before we get started, as always, I do want to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Gunslinger Soap. Gunslinger Soap is handmade soaps and beard products made without all of the junk to pamper your skin. You can go to their website right now, gunslingersoap.com, and definitely check them out. Sign up, get 15% off your first order, always free shipping when you spend $30 or more. That's gunslingersoap.com. Definitely check them out. My partner in crime, sometimes literally, depending on which attorney's involved. Dan the
right.
Corner.
Right. Yeah, you got interstate rules and things of that nature.
I mean,
you got a lot of complicated case out, a lot of ins, a lot of outs. Is there a promo code? Is there a promo code to the Gunslinger Soap thing anymore? Or are we just doing?
No,
okay.
Find out. Yeah, there's no.
That's what it used to be.
No,
we just made it more simple. You know,
no,
made it more
this
simple
one,
for people. You know,
there were other ones that we had through the sports report that were promo codes. Gunslinger, it's never been. We've always just kept simple with them, which I like, honestly.
That's what he does. I mean, that's what that company is. It's simple. Yeah. It's good. It's down to the point. It's worth it, and that's it. That's it. You know?
Consistent.
Promo
look
code.
at this. Look at this. It looks so much better. I don't look as much like a homeless person like I used to. The beard.
I did.
Huge difference.
I did notice that. It's more. It's become more of like a Brad Pitt PC look than like a more what's Seth Rogen Jewish look.
Yeah, I'm okay with that because Brad Pitt gets a lot of pussy, and quite frankly, in my middle-aged, that's all I'm about anymore.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I would probably just fuck Brad Pitt. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, if there's one dude, I'm not gonna like enjoy it, but at the same time, like, it's
how could you not? I mean, it's Brad Pitt, man.
With Bert Kreischer on the was it Adam and it's a radio show. Can't remember what it's called. It's like two dudes' names, but it's the bald guy and then the fucking little mousy looking guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
it's two guys' names. It's like
yeah.
Something in Tom.
About, but I can't remember.
It's not Bob and Tom. It's something like that. It is. I think it might be Bob and Tom. But yeah, he's on there. He's talking about, dude. It's one of the funniest one of the funniest. He's just talking about fucking Brad Pitt, like how he would really do it. Like, and he's like, because he's like, it's not about sex for me, man. He's like, it's Brad was our dude, man. Brad was that guy for us. He was that one shining symbol. And like, they get deep into it, dude. One guy asked him, he's like, would you douche before if he asked you? Like, if he was like, hey, babe, go ahead and go douche up. And Kreischer's answering the questions like totally serious. Like, it is ridiculous, dude. It's really funny though. Check that out.
He does that really well, and I think there's so many people that experience Bert Kreischer stand up and question the level of his intelligence. That dude is so goddamn smart.
He seems like he's nervous too. Like he's nervous that he has imposter syndrome really bad. Like he just doesn't think that he should be famous.
But I think there's the right individuals have that question. Like they're like, do I really get to do this? But those are the ones that don't fuck it up. Those are the ones that appreciate where they're at. The athletes that are like, I don't know how lucky how I got lucky to be in this position, but I'm gonna be glad to be here. And that's really where he's at. Or you get the Carlos Mencias that feel like they deserve to be in their position, and so they're just gonna beg, borrow, and steal their way through as much fame as possible.
Because their mom told them they were funny.
Right.
And yeah, my mom never told me I was funny. Not one time did she think I was funny.
Well, at least she didn't lie to you.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. So like that's all we need. A little honesty. That's fucking stupid.
I had a first time experience today. And no, it wasn't prison sex. It wouldn't be the first time. It's hard to see because the camera's kind of being stupid, but I went to White Castle.
I see it
the first time.
Just the thought of those little slider burgers, onion crystals exploding in my mouth like flavor bombs makes me want to burn this motherfucker down. Yeah. There's a movie about them little slider burgers. They're that good. They were like,
I can see why. I can see why President Bush loved him so much, as was shown in the sequel to that movie.
What do you know about politics, Kumar? What's that? 2 O's? It's just one U. Yeah, he's like, you're awesome, Mr. President. You guys are awesome. You know what, Dad? I'm not going to listen to your friends anymore either, so fuck you. And he hangs the phone up, high fives him. Oh, shit, it's Cheney. Let's get the fuck out of here. That guy scares the shit out of me.
I gotta say, though, like, the service was good. Those burgers were actually really, really good. They were delicious. You can tell they were fresh.
How many did you get?
Just 2. I did combo, 2 of the double cheese, fries and a drink.
Interesting.
And yeah, it was good. Like, great service. Seemed like a clean place. I was impressed. It was good.
They make doubles, don't they, or something like that? Double
sliders.
That's
what it was.
Apparently, you're not supposed to get those.
I was actually that's what I had.
What, 2 burgers on it?
Yeah, it had 2 burgers on it and cheese,
okay.
and then cheese on it. That was pretty legit. So if that's what you're not supposed to get, then
you're supposed to get your first time. That's such a you had a veteran order, such a veteran order for such a rookie at White Castle. So I mean, I guess that's a good thing, ahead of your years. But apparently, you just got to start with the base.
It's like getting a girl off your first time you have sex. That's a veteran move. You got to learn how to do that.
If I ever did, it was on accident. Tell you that much.
That's great.
I thought I didn't think that was real. I thought they were faking it the whole time. Which most of the time, they probably were.
I don't think real orgasms exist, so you're probably right.
They don't. It's just ejaculating and babies.
In my experience, women don't enjoy sex, so why would they orgasm?
Exactly. I mean, it is all about me finishing, and that's really what it's. And it's very, very base. Let's be honest. Jesus Christ.
Life's a race. I'm gonna finish first.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have time for that. Time for all you getting off stuff. It's not what this is about. It's not what this is about. From somebody who has no kids, that's not what this is about. That's. So what is it about then? I'm sorry, I didn't. What is it about then?
Me.
Duh.
So, I'll let you. I'll let you pick where we start on the map tonight, my friend. Do we want to talk about Anthony Rendon, or do we want to talk about Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark? Where do you want to go?
Okay, so I was going to say I wanted to go Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark, but since you said Caitlyn Clark, I know what happened now with that. So I think we should go with that one.
You go that one first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So for those of you that are not aware, Sunday afternoon during the NCAA women's final for the NCAA tournament for March Madness, LSU's Angel Reese was seen talking trash to University of Iowa star Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn is an individual who has been compared to Larry Bird, both in play and in trash talk.
Right.
After the game, Angel Reese, or near the end of the game or after the game, Angel Reese was seen doing some of the gestures to Caitlyn that she had done to other teams, as well as to Angel in the 3 times that they played last season when Angel was at Maryland. And there were a lot of individuals like Keith Oberman and Dave Portnoy, who called the behavior by Angel classless. That NCAA women's game was the highest rated women's basketball game. Notice how I said that. Highest rated women's basketball game in history, with over 10 million people watching it. Why were they watching it? Because of Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark, 2 very young stars in the basketball, in women's basketball, that are coming up and have a lot of attention on them. Caitlyn Clark has 1 more year of eligibility left. Next year, she'll be a senior. Angel Reese has 2 after the season. There were a lot of individuals that were willing to celebrate all of the trash talk that Caitlyn Clark had been doing, the "you can't see me's," the ring.
What's the ring thing?
Like,
she's saying she's got a ring?
Like she's getting a ring.
Okay. Who won the battle? I honestly don't know who won. LSU did, right?
Yeah, LSU won. I don't know why I blanked on that for a second. Angel Reese and LSU won the game 102-85. So it was a 17-point game. It wasn't close.
Rocked them.
At no point was it close, because the general consensus is, and I happen to agree with it from what I've seen, that Caitlyn Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes expended all of their energy in the Final Four round, beating, I can't remember who it was. I want to say UConn or somebody like that. It was somebody.
One woman show there too.
And not a lot of, not really any other big names on that program that are, like, at least as far as
like the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
One woman show.
And, then you see almost, somewhat similar. Angel Reese got LSU's first women's NCAA basketball title ever. So that shows you where their program's been.
Right.
Very talented. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Caitlyn Clark. When you look at her numbers, she had 2 40-point games in the tournament, including the first 40-20-10 triple-double by any athlete.
Unprecedented.
Keep in mind, the reason that March Madness is what it is today, you want to know what started it? The NCAA final game that was between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Right.
That's what really started.
The spark.
That was the spark. And so this could be that moment. And obviously, it's something where I think obviously something time will tell. I think there's still more that needs to be done before women's basketball really starts to take hold of the attention of sports fans like men's basketball has. I think it's going to take time, but it is building, and so I definitely respect college women's basketball, because it is good, talented to watch, and I feel like it's easier to not have a problem with the talent level and the difference in the game when it's a college game versus when it's pro. Because when you hear pro basketball, you think of the game speed and the experience of an NBA game. And with the women's game, it's not like that. It's a different game. We've talked about that. But with college basketball, your standards are already lowered because it's college. And that's not to say that these women aren't talented. They are, but it's easier to accept the different game at that level than it is at the pro level. So yes. I think that's why one of the reasons we'll see women's college basketball swing up before we see the WNBA really start to gain momentum.
Yeah, it's always been the women's college game has always been like more popular than women's professional, and that's obviously because there was a couple of dynasties in the middle there. You had Tennessee. Tennessee would have been the earlier one, and then UConn, this recent one. UConn was a draw just to see a dynasty, right? Because people say they don't like dynasties, but that's, I mean, Gino and those girls just fucking dominated for like a whole decade. I mean, when I say dominated, fucking dominated. Like they won like fucking 5 out of 6 titles or something like that.
I was going to say they won a few. They won a few in a row, didn't they?
They won 80 some straight games in a row. They were like 88 in a row or something like that. That's nuts. I mean, that's domination. Like, and there's parity now. Like there's more parity. There's obviously more women playing basketball. What do you think the difference in? So women weren't allowed to act like that. Like dudes do it all the time. Like clearly, like we love that shit. The banter, the shit talking, the competitive. It's just competitive spirit is all it is, and it can be channeled in a lot of different ways. I feel like women were definitely not allowed to do that for a long time. Like it was like it literally went back almost to that basis, like ladylike thing, which is weird, right?
No, I think you're exactly right. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it went back to like this thing, like where they can't be competitive, or they can't show any kind of like what would be considered testosterone driven almost, even though it's not testosterone. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be considered that, and like male in nature, they weren't allowed to do it. And I think that's definitely held back. I mean, because people love to see the rivalries, people love to see the spirit, the anger, the whatever it is, like the hard play, the physical play. Like that's a huge part of basketball.
Right.
And it was like kind of just reserved in the women's game because they just like, I don't know if they felt like they probably couldn't do it, but like it was definitely being kind of pressed on them that like, oh, well, still don't act like that all the time. And it's like, okay, well, dudes do it all the time. Why can't? I mean, they're competitive. They're gonna react to things naturally. So you can't really, it just kind of held it back for me.
It did, and I think that I mean, you can even think back to like and I think that there's more accuracy than I think that we understand in the modern day, in the way that women athletes are still seen, even if you look at like A League of Their Own. Remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
Tom Hanks, Rosie O'Donnell, a few others were in that movie. It was really good. Marilyn Monroe was in that movie.
There's no crying in baseball is from that movie.
Yep.
That's the quote. Yeah.
And when you think about that movie, and when they were in the training camp before the draft and all of that stuff, and after they had decided they were going to do it and they were bringing all the players in, you had that guy that was telling the women, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you will do this, you will do that. All of these different things that were very disrespectful to the athletes, but were focused on the way that they were trying to market the product.
Right. Keeping it wholesome.
Keeping it keeping the women wholesome and appearing basically, and I hate this term, but I think it's legitimately what it was, making sure that they looked as fuckable as possible while still being athletes.
Yes, absolutely. I was actually going to make a joke about it when we were talking about Angel Reese. Like I was gonna make a joke about it when we were talking about Angel Reese. I was gonna be like, that's the, like, I want to climb that tree for the pineapples at the top. And I was gonna make it because like that's where everybody goes with it immediately. Like that's what it is. I'm guilty of it as well. That's what I mean. because there's so many more male fans of sports in general, right? We can agree on that, right?
I mean,
it always turns into like that's kind of the disadvantage that women's sports has always had is there's more male fans because males probably played it first because of the whole, so we're all kind of bringing it full circle because that was like the wholesome thing. Women, oh, you don't want to get sweaty, right? You don't want to get sweaty because how are you going to cook dinner sweaty? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what it was. And so, like, don't show any kind of, like, any primal anything because you're very ladylike. It's so ladylike. And that's something back for.
And I think that because, like, you and I, we both played competitive sports, even if it was just at the high school. I know we went to the college level a little bit. But it's always there. I mean, especially, like, if you come up against somebody that you faced before, there's even more shit talking because you can bring up last time. I remember when I was in high school, my sophomore year, because I was playing for Cameron, and we went down to Smithville to play them in soccer.
The old Smithville Smithies.
And one of the guys that was on their JV team, I went to school in St. Joe with him in 8th grade. And he was a bully. And I chirped him the entire fucking game.
Revenge time.
There was one point where the ref pulled me aside and was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's the issue here? Why are you acting like this?" And I seriously, I looked at the ref. I said, "He bullied me for all of 8th grade." And the ref said, "Okay." I said, "You're either going to eject me or I'm going to keep telling him he's my bitch. There's no in between." There's a primal piece, especially when it comes to athletes. And I think that we need to remember that this happens in women too, because the type of chemical that your body produces or that your body uses when you're doing high level athletics and pushing your body to that point is testosterone. Women generate testosterone too. It's just not as much, just like the opposite. Men generate a little bit of estrogen as well. And so, but for men, like it's not a little bit of testosterone. Like we are full fucking bore, primal in those moments. That's the closest we get to being primal, I think, in the modern era. You know what I mean?
It is.
Women, as their athletic ability is expanding and they're pushing their bodies to that more, their bodies are creating more testosterone. So there's going to be those things, those angry outbursts. At some point we're going to see a female basketball player just deck an opposing player. Like there won't even be a question, not a hair pull, just.
It's already. I mean, it's kind of. I think it's already happened. And have you ever watched a girls' high school basketball game?
Oh, they're violent. Girls soccer is just as violent.
Pissed, and like they literally. So this shows you how they're smarter than we are. Kind of. They are taking it like very seriously, like on a personal level, right in the middle of the game, because it kind of is. And like we're kind of just dumb, and like we just kind of just bounce off each other, and like and they just keep going. And like they're like, "No, motherfucker, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this bitch." This like they take it very like it's because it is kind of like that. They did just kind of fuck with you, we kind of tend to just pass it off as like, oh, it's just a sport. We're just playing a game. But like they're like, no, we ain't playing no fucking game, motherfucker. I'll kill that bitch.
There's nothing. The only thing that is more shady violent than women's basketball, women's high school basketball or women's high school soccer is a Mexican prison.
It's same hierarchies too.
The difference is you have a lower chance of getting shanked in a Mexican prison.
Yes. Those girls are just on there like using pieces of the fucking school bus seat to like make shivs, tightening them down, trying to get pieces of metal off the bus and shit to fucking hide in their long socks. Yeah. Like underneath their shin guards. But
Angel Reese wasn't doing nothing but matching the energy that Caitlyn Clark sent out. Caitlyn Clark said on ESPN when she was interviewed, I believe it was Tuesday, that she had no problem. Or I'm sorry, Caitlyn Clark said when she was interviewed on ESPN on Tuesday, she had no problem with what Angel Reese did. They expected it because that's basically that's what they do. They expect it back.
Yeah.
And when I'm actually playing, yeah, I expect it. I'm going to hear somebody. I'm going to hear, things about my mother that I didn't know. I'm going to hear things about my partner that I didn't know.
Right.
My sister that I don't have, all of those things. Like it's the way it goes.
Right. Well, you could, my strategy before games was literally just to like watch the dude that I was going to be guarding. So I always guarded the best player on the other team. I couldn't play offense for shit, but I would just get in everybody else, like just foul out every game. They wanted all 5 of mine, all 5 every time. And I just beat the shit out of him, basically. Just not even play like good defense, just basically just hound him, play football while you're playing basketball, right? But I would watch him before the game and see who he was talking to and shit, or like trying to get any information I could about his family, or if he had a girlfriend that I could clearly tell he was looking at and stuff in the crowd. I'm figuring out who that is before the game. I'm watching it, and then I had my little like ball boys, like 8-year-old kids, would watch him too. They go like, I have them go like walk by him and stuff, figure out like, hey, look at this cute kid asking what my sister's name is, and like they'd tell him, and they'd come back and tell me, and then I go use it on the court, and just very specific stuff. A lot of fucking people. I was fucking a lot of people. A lot of his family. That was basically my main thing was I was fucking a lot of his family. I was just sodomizing a lot of his family. Like that's basically like what my strategy was, and it worked every time. If you say you sodomized members of their family enough, everybody has a breaking point. Like everybody
has a breaking point, right?
I got fucking headbutted on a multitude of occasions. I got a lot of elbows, got a lot of the get off me elbows right to the face, to the neck. I kicked a guy in the chest one time. It's like Happy Gilmore, where he's like, I was also the only guy to take his skate off and try and stab somebody with it.
My proudest moment. So I mainly played midfield. Like they had me play goalie because I was willing to do it, but I was, and I cannot stress this enough, absolutely fucking horrible as a goalie in soccer. Like there is,
What are you, 5'8"?
5'7",
5'9",
5'7".
Okay, still not optimal size to be a goalie.
No, but I was willing to do it, and that's why I got it, because nobody wanted to do it. Well, I would, there were multiple times my sophomore year where we lost matches on the JV team because I was goalie and mercy rule was 10.
Understandable.
It is what it is.
That's what JV's for.
There was this one kid, and it was by far the worst thing I've ever done. He had scored 3 goals on me during the first 10 minutes of the game. And I finally got into a rhythm and I started blocking some shots. Well, he was coming in unblocked and was going to basically get what would equate to a penalty shot, which I'm not gonna get. And so I just, like, as he was running,
his legs out of you.
He got, worse. He got it once he got into the box. Once they get into the box, that's my territory, right?
Yeah.
So I was running in and I just kept running and I just laid his ass out, like full body check.
Yeah.
Just
it's a red card.
And actually all I got was a yellow card.
Just for excessive. It wasn't, you can't body check. You got to at least be going for the ball, right? I mean, I don't know soccer that well, but
that was actually my first yellow card. He goes, the ref comes over and he puts it up above my head and he's writing it down. He goes, I don't really have to give goalies yellow cards very often. And his teammates are helping him up. The traders come over. They're helping the kid off the field because he's out of the game. And I said, yeah, I'm not going to have to. I don't play varsity, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't have any minutes restrictions.
And he started laughing. He goes, if you get another yellow card, you're out and you have to miss, and the state's rules were Missouri State high school athletics rules, where if you get red carded in a game, you're suspended for the next one automatically.
Yeah.
There's no, we're going to review it. No, you're suspended for the next game.
Same as Nebraska. If you get two texts and ejected, you're out for the next game. Trust me, I know.
You did that a lot.
Missed a few, yeah.
Yeah. I laid this kid out. I put him on his ass. And It felt kind of good. Not gonna lie.
It always does.
Yeah, this felt kind of good.
It always does because it's a sanctioned fight. Basically, is what it is. Football is just a sanctioned big brawl, essentially, with like rules to it. It's controlled violence. It's the only way that we can naturally take it out without feeling guilty about it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what it is.
I said, lay down.
These guys know it.
Oh,
These guys who play it know it. Guys who play it know it.
They do. And but I think there's so many people that have lost sight of what athletics really are. Like it's healthy competition. Like we've talked to with on Undisputed the last couple of days, they've talked about it ad nauseum about the whole, Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese thing. And a lot of, and Shannon made the point, and I happen to agree, that a lot of the individuals that have a problem with what Angel Reese did are part of the participation trophy generation. And, they got a trophy for showing up. No, there's a winner and there's a loser. There's competition. There's trash talk. That's the way it works when you're in sports. And we can't lose that. That's what it's there for.
It's the essence of why we started the show, was that we don't think that most people realize that there are athletes that come into a professional or any kind of league, anywhere you play sports at, and they're the same athlete. Athletically, they do the exact same things. And one of them is far superior actually at the game than another. Okay. Why is that? How's that possible, you say? Well, the mental side of it is everything. It's literally, It's so crucial. It's so crucial that you can have the same pieces that don't fit in the same spots right because of just the way that they think. It has nothing to do with how high they can jump, has nothing to do with how fast they can run. It has nothing to do with any of that. It literally just thinks, how hard are they willing to go? Are they willing to run as fast as they possibly can? Or are they just like doing that in pajamas? Do they like walkthroughs, or do they like the actual game? Because I know dudes who weren't athletes at all, who when they got in the game, dogs, because they wanted to go out and beat the shit out of people. Like that was what they wanted to do. They didn't care how strong that dude was. They just wanted to go out and hit somebody. And those are the best guys to have on a football team. Those are the best people to have on any team. When you get to the professional level, it's a little bit different because obviously that level of talent is a whole nother kick up. And then you start going from that level of talent into their mental game, because those dudes, regardless of what their mental state is, are going to fuck up 99% of the population. Every single time they're going to fuck those guys up. But
right.
But you know what I'm saying?
Think about and this was something that I was thinking about. When we think about, there are certain athletes that we know of that are ultimately their job is as a shit disturber. Like we look at Larry Bird throughout his entire career. Larry Bird was celebrated for all of the shit that he talked. That's what Larry was. Larry Bird, infamous for walking in to a locker room full of black guys during an all-star game, before the three-point contest, and saying, which one of you N-words is coming in second?
And he didn't get gang jumped.
He didn't get his ass kicked. He didn't get, you're never going to see Larry Bird got canceled because he said the N-word during that three-point contest in, 1989? No, because they understood that was Larry. That was Larry that was shit-talking. That was Larry that was just messing with his competition, and that's all it was about. It was a very core piece of how he was seen. Caitlyn Clark had been celebrated even before this game as female Larry Bird. A little shorter because she's only 6 foot tall, but that's still a decent height for a female basketball player.
That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of being 6'9" in the NBA, which Larry Bird was. That's the equivalent of being a 6'9" basketball. A 6 foot tall woman is basically the equivalent of about a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" man in the same sport, because they're not obviously just not as tall. So like that's probably about the same. And for who plays basketball and can stay athletic enough as a female, obviously, and a male, you can't be too tall. But like I think it's like the same thing because like the tallest women in WNBA are 6'6", 6'7". I think Brittany Griner's 6'8". She's the tallest
6'5",
one.
6'6", 6'7", 6'8". That's kind of that 3 inches there is kind of the range of the tallest ones, but a lot of them are like 6 to 6'2".
And that's medium to small in the NBA. You know, large to medium in girls and women's professional sports is about, you know, small to medium in the NBA. So it goes about that 8-inch to a foot mark, kind of, because 7'6" is the biggest dude in the NBA. If you look at the numbers down the thing, that's kind of how it goes. I forgot where we were going with that now, but I can't help. Go ahead. I can't help but like notice the immediate comparison is obviously because they're both white shit talking players, right?
Well, Angel Reese is black.
No, I'm saying like no. I'm saying like between Bird and Brandon.
Well,
Caitlyn Clark.
Well, yeah, but there's definitely some skill there. Caitlyn Clark has some great handles. And she, you know, obviously 2 40-point games during the NCAA tourney this year, something that's never been done, you know, something that hasn't really been done. The 40-20-10 game that, you know, that's never been done by any NCAA basketball player, regardless of gender. So there's definitely a supreme talent there that goes along with the shit talking. But Larry got away with saying what he said because he backed it up.
Right.
And
I'm
Caitlyn
assuming
Clark, up to that point, had backed it up. Well, she lost, and she got it back in her face. This isn't the first time that her and Angel Reese have played each other. Like I said, they played 3 times last year when Angel was at Maryland, and Caitlyn was talking shit the whole time. Caitlyn had said to somebody else during the tournament, "You're down by 15. Shut up." And
that's
Angel,
the worst she said. Then
Angel, that's probably the worst that they listened to. I'm sure she said more shit. When Angel hit her back during that, she was down. You know, Angel sent the energy back to Caitlyn that she had been sending out, and so I have no problem with it. Caitlyn even said when she was on ESPN, she had no problem with it. Angel, when she was in the post press conference and stuff she's done since then, she said, I'm not apologizing. I don't regret what I did. You guys don't have a problem with it when she does it. I did that for all of the little girls that look like me that are just told to be quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the sake of argument, let's say that it's a little bit about there's such a weird gray area here because I feel like a lot of it, especially in Boston, no offense to any, especially in Boston with Larry, it's like that is a black dude sport, and this white guy is out there talking shit to the black dudes. And it's almost like the white guys of Boston are like siding with Larry because it's like, oh yeah, get the black guys back, or they would use another word like that. I feel like it gets kind of, you know,
when Larry Bird was in his dominance, and it was late 70s and into the 80s, if I remember correctly.
Late 80s, early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s was his kind of.
Was it
all through the 80s? Was
it already truly because honestly I don't remember. I think the earliest I remember watching the Suns was like 94. Was it?
Are you asking
much of a black man's game at that point?
Yes. Yes.
I know, obviously, like at first it was all white guys, and that's when it sucked. Then it's kind of just progressed from there. But I wasn't sure when it really transitioned to that. So I was just legitimately asking.
Right. The Wilt era was the ushering of the black athlete in the NBA for sure. Like he was kind of the first one that they were like, all right, yes, because there was still a ton of white dudes playing then too. And like 6'6" was like a big center, big white Indiana center at that point was, and in the late 50s, early 60s, that was still a lot of what was going on. So Wilt comes in, 7 foot black dude, like, oh shit. And he was clearly just fucking better than everybody else. And then 70s, you're looking at 70s, the percentages start flying up. And I think in the 80s, it's almost what it is today, I would say. Probably close to, I mean, it's always kind of been it's really just, it's very tailored to what black guys do well athletically. It's not a secret.
It's not a disrespect to the game to say that it's more black dominant now. I don't have I take no issue with that.
Put the best players out there. Mm-hmm. That's all we're asking, and that's what happens because that's natural. Like that's going to happen because the teams want the best players. So like that happens naturally. So
I mean, you look at there's white basketball players that are dominating, and Tyler Hero is absolutely amazing. And definitely one of the key pieces to what Miami is doing right now. And go ahead.
Interesting point that Bomani Jones brought up. I've never thought about this. Give me another American young NBA star than Ja Morant. American. Yeah, it shouldn't take this long because it's weird, dude. There's not that many. Donovan Mitchell. It's probably one, but that's
Booker, Ayton,
Devin Booker,
DeAndre Ayton.
But like young stars, like young superstars, like Devin Booker, yes. Devin Booker's a superstar. I don't think DeAndre Ayton is a superstar.
No.
Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, who is the most uninteresting. The most interesting thing about him is that his kid gets to just walk on the floor whenever he wants. Like this, apparently, but there's not very many after. There's superstar wise, there's not hardly any after because Joel Embiid from Africa, Luka Slovenia, go down Giannis, Greece, like Jokic, Lithuania. It goes on. I mean, it goes all the way down the line. Like the guys who are going to be considered the best in the NBA are all foreign players to some extent.
Right. And that's and I honestly I like that though. I like that though because it shows that the game is growing, that basketball is growing on an international scale, and while it may be more difficult to expand the talent pool in certain sports like football, like American football,
right?
You're going to be playing with American players.
Almost all
Canadian,
American guys, yeah.
Maybe a Canadian or two that just wasn't a good skater but wants to be able to hit people. Maybe somebody from Mexico every once in a while. And again, it's not to disrespect any of those individuals. It's just that football's talent pool is more limited than basketball's.
Absolutely, because I mean it's called American football. Like we're the only ones who play it. Like it's not a big sport anywhere else. Like I've told you about going to Australia in high school playing football, and these kids were like getting our autographs and shit. We're high school players. Like we had no clout. They just thought we were famous because we played this sport that they'd never seen before. So they thought we were professionals, right? And we were far from being professionals. And they just don't like nobody else plays the sport. So that's why everybody in America plays the sport. It's huge here. Like it's our thing, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like it's our thing. And that's why there's more just nobody else plays it or starts playing it until they're later in life. If they're like, oh, you'd be a great left tackle, but the dude they don't have that on the high school agenda. You know what I'm saying? Like American football is not something that it'd be like us playing cricket and then be like us like growing up playing cricket or something. It's just not, it's not an American sport. So, but basketball is a global game. And that's a lot about, think about how hard it is to get like an American football game that's actually real tackle football without a bunch of people getting hurt. Like they all got to have pads, right? They got to have a field that's in a certain condition like this. There's so many things that go with having an American football game actually in real life. And then think about how easy it is to play a basketball game. You need 10 dudes, 2 hoops and a ball. End of story. That's it. Like full court. And it's just easy. It's like there's one ball involved. There's not, passing to other people. And like you need 22 guys now. Like you need all these pads because you can't just go play tackle football all the time because dudes will just die and shit. But like, yeah, you got to have a lot of more things, just like hockey. That's why hockey doesn't have more clout globally because it's very hard to play. It's hard to, it's hard to cool a fucking floor to ice cold in an arena. It's like really hard. Like it's rich people stuff. Like
It's expensive.
indoor arenas, it's expensive to play. And so is American football, really. If you think about it, all the pads and the gloves and all this shit, you don't need nothing to play basketball. You don't need nothing.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why also you see that soccer, European football, has more of an international presence, because you just even two guys, a ball and one net, you've got something you can do. You've got but also because with European football, you've got it's 10 on 10, or no, 11 on 11.
Yeah.
Wait, 4.
It is. It's the same as football.
Or 12 on 12. Well, technically 12 on 12 because you have 11
the goalie.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a pretty wide range that you can open up to your match size and everything. And I get it from a simple standpoint. That's what you're right. That's why basketball and European football have more of an international presence than American football.
And you bring up a really good point there too. Like it doesn't have to be 5-on-5 in basketball. You can work on your game with two people. You can work on your game by yourself. Like right. How is a quarterback going to work on his passing accuracy with just himself? I mean, you could throw, you had to like 30 footballs and then go pick them up, try to throw them in the net and then have to go pick them up. It's kind of weird. You're like, you need more people to practice it for sure than if you're just, you can just go off the basketball and you can work on your game by yourself. Just shoot the basketball and dribble, do dribbling drills, all that stuff. You can't really do that with a lot. What are you going to play left tackle by yourself? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to block by yourself? You need somebody to block. Like, it's just, yeah.
And I think that's but no, I think you're right. That's exactly what it is. And for me, it's like, I don't want, I don't want individuals that don't speak for the normal fan to keep getting as much exposure with their opinions. Like Keith Olbermann is a sports commentator because he was so bad and dishonest, he's no longer able to work in political news. Do you know how bad you have to be to not be able to work in political news?
Yeah. Like did you not lie enough? I don't know. and then you have Dave Portnoy, who is so disrespectful, is considered so disrespectful in the industry that sports fans had to throw a fit enough to where the NFL gave Barstool media credentials for the Super Bowl. Yeah. Go review a pizza, Dave Portnoy. Go review a pizza. That's what you are best at.
I can't even trust him reviewing a pizza because he seems to think that New York pizza is the best pizza on the market. If I wanted to eat a greasy bike tire, I'd go to a fucking homeless encampment.
Right. I've never had New York pizza. And he always does just cheese too. He always does just cheese. You can't have any toppings on it. So it's just like how the crust and everything is basically. It's like just crust. And like that's not some styles of pizza though. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just like be like, oh, it's got to be just cheese. That pigeonholes the whole thing, right? Because like some places make meat pizzas or whatever. Like they make pizzas with tomatoes on them and shit.
Who past the age of 8 eats cheese pizza?
Right, like just cheese pizza. I get what he's trying to do. I really do. Like he's trying to like make it like, so this is about the ingredients because the tomato sauce is a huge deal on pizza. It really is. It really is. The cheese is a huge deal. Holds everything together, and then the crust. So it's like the three things. You're making it more simple to rate it because you can't just like go to a bunch of different places and be like, this is their best thing. Well, that best thing against that best thing is like it's so apples and oranges. How are you going to rate it? So you have to just keep everything at a baseline. I understand why he does it, but like some places just don't make that shit, and that's not their best thing. So like you can't just give them a bad rating because you got a cheese pizza when that's not even like close to what they do best. They do some kind of weird thing best. Yeah. So like, it's just weird. I always like his pizza reviews, honestly.
I have a hard time trusting anybody who reviews pizza and their sole focus is on a cheese New York style pizza. The fact that Martha likes New York style pizza so gung-ho almost caused our relationship to end.
Right.
But
it's that serious of a thing.
It's that serious of a thing. But luckily she forgives my fault, so I forgave a couple of hers.
You're Chicago then. Is that what are your
Oh yeah.
That's the argument, right? I'm not a pizza aficionado, but I believe that's like the two. Those are that's the Jordan LeBron of pizza. It's Chicago versus New York.
Yes and no. So the deep dish style that we see in the common thing is actually more like locals in Chicago are more focused on Chicago dogs and things of that nature. And the deep dish is more to like, that's a touristy thing to them. But like, I just like deep dish pizza and I enjoy it. It has to be like, I have standards, it has to still be a good sauce. There is a wrong way to make a deep dish crust, and I've seen it.
Right.
But there's
also like you're a meats guy. It's like you're a meats guy, yeah, me too. I always like meat lovers pizza from Pizza Hut. Yeah. There's a bunch of meat on top of it. And that's not even close to cheese pizza.
It's not. I mean, honestly, even Martha has been on a kick recently of Supreme because she's normally
I love Supreme pizza.
Go-to. Me too. And her go-to, actually, it's a weird combo. It's pepperoni and pineapple.
I like pineapple on pizza. It should be a thing.
I don't have a problem with it being a thing. I'm not always in the mood for it, but I don't judge people that like it because it's not bad. Like, I'm not eating it every time. I'd much rather just have a Supreme or a Meat Lovers or something like that.
I'm not going to get it out of choice, but like on a good barbecue chicken pizza, pineapple the pineapple with the jalapenos. So like they do the onion jalapeno pineapple. That's fucking beautiful to me. I love the spicy sweet thing. I think that's the best way.
Yeah,
that's the best way to do it. Yeah, with the barbecue chicken's always fucking a good choice. I'm not gonna like go out and be like, hey, I want a Canadian bacon and pineapple pizza on a regular basis because I feel like it's almost like eating dessert while I'm trying to eat. Have my dessert afterwards if I want it, not while I'm trying to eat it.
And honestly, I think that the Canadian bacon combo with pineapple is a little iffy to me. Like that's one where I'm not so hot on it. I think it's because with Canadian bacon, it is a little bit sweeter. So I get what you're like you said, it's a little bit more of a dessert. I think it works better when you do stuff like with pepperoni or like you said with the barbecue and the barbecue chicken and the jalapenos and the pineapple. You've got more of a balance of different flavors to actually make it something that's enjoyable. Whereas with the Canadian bacon and pineapple, like the Hawaiian pizza, if you will, it's too sweet.
A lot of sweet. It is. And like those Hawaiian rolls that are fucking delicious. The
sweet Hawaiian. Yeah.
Very, very, they have a real almost desserty type of thing going on. If you really think about it, like that's a lot of like pineapple flavor kind of, it's very sweet. They're delicious. Don't get me wrong, but you ain't putting fucking pineapple on one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just a double. So like a lot of going on. So you got to put, the barbecue and the spicy. It's got to be spicy for me, honestly. I spicy and sweet, awesome combination.
It is a good combination, and I think that the haters just don't want to accept that your taste buds can have a range.
It's kind of like the show. Yeah. You're spicy, I'm sweet. It's the perfect. Was that we had other way? I'm sour. You're sour. I don't know. I don't know what would be his taste. Shit.
I have no flavor. You have all the flavor. That's what we'll say. There it is.
Yes,
all the flavor.
And it just in the middle, it becomes like Udobo or whatever.
Oh shit!
It's a perfect garlic salt mixture. No. Aren't you Italian? You're Italian or something, aren't you? Something weird.
Not really. No,
No, you weren't Italian at all, were you?
No, that's it. Well, actually, no. There was a small thing of Italian, but when it compared with the fact that there was a little bit of like somewhere in Middle Eastern, like around Jordan, and then down in Greece and Crete, they're like, oh, actually, well, yeah, you're basically Arab there. I was like, ah, fuck.
Yeah. So you got Arab and Irish, or Irish,
it was this certain part of Italy, I guess, that has that's actually more of a Middle Eastern type resident, more Arab resident. I guess
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean. More Mediterranean, and it's right off of the sea there. So obviously, there's going to be some.
So you're Italian and you're Arab, so you definitely hit women. We can say that about your.
I don't hit women, Dan.
Yes, I know.
But I have high five faces.
Couple little more percentage points that you're going to be right. A bob and a boopy.
A bob and a boopy.
Just because you have a mustache does not mean you can speak Italian. It doesn't. I tried it.
And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about on this. So I don't know if you saw the comments, but Joe Biden was at the women's final game. And the next day.
Do you know who's there?
No, not Joe, Jill. His wife. His wife was there.
Oh.
And Jill said in an interview the next day that she thought both teams played well, and maybe she wanted to talk to Joe about both of them being invited to the White House, not just LSU.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That was quite possibly, and I commend Dr. Biden for this, but she managed to say something so stupid that we aren't thinking about all of the dumb shit her husband has said. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, because I mean, that's participation trophy shit.
That's
some participation trophy shit.
It is participation trophy, and you think about with all of the discussion around this issue, and I'm not saying that Dr. Biden was doing this, but the optics on it are really bad because it looks like she's like, oh, well, the all-white team.
I was just gonna say
the all-white team didn't win, but they played hard, so they should still get to go to the White House, with the national champions. All right.
While there may never have been any conversation about LSU going,
right?
If they lost,
so if LSU had lost that game by 17 points, where LSU is kind of the inverted. If there's 16 kids on that team, 15 of them are black girls, and there's one white girl. Right. Are you going to? Would you have invited LSU?
She would say yes, but
and of course that she would say yes, but the answer is no.
It is,
and that's these optics. It's continue a conversation we shouldn't have to keep having, and I think that's what frustrates me about this issue more now because like as much as I don't like Dave Portnoy when it comes to dealing with sports stuff. The day after after the game on Twitter, he called her classless or called Angel Reese classless for what she did and the taunting that she did or the trash talk that she did to Caitlyn Clark following the game. And he said that his issue with it was because there was some stuff that happened after the game where Angel Reese went looking for her and kind of laid it on. And
that was what we talked about though too. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, because she like followed her like real post game, like I'm not in the arena or anything, like personal life type shit. Like went and like followed her like while they were like out in the city or whatever.
No,
right?
it was just after the game. Like they hadn't.
It was in the arena. Okay.
Yeah, it was in the arena. They hadn't left the court yet, but it was like she was going to the locker room, and Angel got her and was taunting her and shit. And I will say this: I can understand. To a point, his point on that, because his argument was that it was poor sportsmanship, and okay, but if you're going to argue that, there needs to be consistency. You can go to Dave Portnoy's Twitter, and any of the times that Caitlyn Clark was taunting somebody after game and talking shit,
He loved
never criticized. It's always, that's Caitlyn Clark. That's what she does.
Right.
So you one of the reasons why the topic of race keeps coming up in this situation is because you're not, there's not consistency. Now, if there was consistency, if Joe was like, you know what, if you just make it to the finals in your college sport, you're getting invited. You should be invited to the White House because that's an achievement in and of itself.
Yeah.
Then we're not looking at that invitation to Iowa like, oh, she felt bad for all the white girls that look like she used to.
And I don't think that she probably did, honestly. In the
honestly,
moment,
I don't think that's. Her
advisor when they were walking away, we just went, "Oh fuck, Jill. What did you just say, Jill?"
Her assistant was going, fuck,
damn it, Jill,
while she was still being interviewed.
Kill it. Oh yeah, absolutely. For the next 10 minutes while she was still being interviewed, her fucking not listening to a goddamn word. She's trying to rewind what just fucking happened.
She's Jill already writing the press release and the apology. Just like, I might as well get a head start on this.
Sending it off to other people who are running around. Because she's like, go.
It was, and like when they're talking about Undisputed, one of the things that Shannon said is, it was unintended racism. Because it was you weren't really thinking about the fact that you were doing it. And yes, that's a thing. That is a thing. We don't recognize sometimes that we do things and it was inadvertent. And it was truly inadvertent. You just have to correct your course and realize, hey, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. My bad. But then Joe Biden yesterday walks it back, Wednesday walks it back, and her staff is like, no, we're looking forward to seeing LSU. Biden, she was just saying how far we've come and how, it would be nice to see them there. And, maybe we'll see him next year, all of that. And it's like, walking it back because you need to remember, Joe Biden, that the black people are the reason that your husband has the job he has right now. Like, let's just call that what it is. It's not disrespectful. It's just black voters are a reason that Joe Biden is in office right now. When we look at the response to this, they walk back. Her office walks it back. No, we're looking for LSU. Caitlyn Clark is like, yeah, no, if we probably, can assume Caitlyn Clark is smart enough to be like, if we get invited, we're not going. Like, I don't think she ever was discussed it in an interview, but she's the leader of that team, and she's smart enough to know that you don't do that because how awkward would that be for them?
It'd be super weird. It'd be the weirdest, and there's been some weird ones.
Yeah.
Stacks and I covered one on Hardwood one night of the Warriors with, I think it would have been the Warriors with was it with
KD,
Biden, or was it with? No, it was at the White House when they went and visited the White House, and I think it was Biden, and like some weird shit happens, dude. Like there's some clips from like where like dudes are falling asleep. Andrew Wiggins almost falls asleep on the stage. They're talking shit in the background. Like Biden says some weird stuff, and then literally Jill Biden is like literally like reaches back at one point and like tries to like kind of shimmy Steph Curry behind her, and she gets real close to grabbing his dick, like real close, and he literally like makes a face. He like makes a face to Klay Thompson. He's like, and she almost. There's some weird shit, and Biden forgets Klay Thompson's name. He's like Steph. He says Steph and Draymond and number 11. And they all start laughing and shit. Oh my god, Steph Curry's the best part of the whole thing, dude. He's laughing at everything. Like he thinks it's all hilarious because they have no idea what's going on. Basically, like they don't know basketball clearly, and like he's just up there like nobody knows anybody's name. Wiggins is falling asleep, thinks it's the dumbest shit ever. He's like rolling his eyes, clearly just rolling his eyes and like making facial shit to what he's saying, dude. It's weird. It was the weirdest. And Stacks and I are laughing so fucking hard at this because there's so many weird points. It's just so awkward. Like why are you doing that? It's the weirdest thing ever. Like sports teams, yeah. And like that president don't give a fuck. Obama did. Obama actually liked sports. He was actually a sports fan. He actually knew his shit. I don't know if there's been another one.
There was, because I remember, because like typically every year to Super Bowl, the president, right before the Super Bowl, they air, or right after, they air an interview with the president. Like usually like 60 Minutes or, CBS News, something like that. Like there's a sit down interview with the president that gets aired. And I have to, Biden or Obama, his was always really good. He had a very, very reasonable and engaging attitude when it came to sports. And I think that was what it had to me, it sounds like it was probably one of the things that he used to relax in the evenings. He was one of those guys that he wanted to sit down and watch the game.
I love how like analytical he is about it. Like well, this is why I think the Chicago Cubs. It's very like, it's very just like, you can tell he knows every single statistic. He's like, I don't know, they're hitting 303, okay, in the month of, and it's like, the fuck is this guy like? How does he retain all this? He knows all that stuff too. Like what the because he's very like analytical about it and like numbers based and like it's all logical. Like, well, yeah, this team's gonna win. Like it's good breakdown.
He's a remarkably smart individual. I wasn't always politically not always eye to eye with him, but not because of any issue with the fact that he's black. It was policy issues. It was issues that I had with him, but very well spoken, and I respect the hell out of the man. I'd have a beer with him. All right, so before we wrap up tonight, Anthony Rendon of the Los Angeles Angels has been suspended 5 games after an altercation with a fan. The fan, as Rendon was leaving the game, I believe it was on Sunday, there was a fan that was taunting Rendon, kept yelling stuff at him, calling him a bitch. And Rendon stopped walking, engaged with the fan. Fan kept it up. Rendon warned him. Fan kept it up. Rendon reached up and pulled him down by the jersey to where he was like right here, like, in his face. Guy still kept going it, and Rendon slapped him. Go ahead.
Such a good example of that attitude of like, since when, like, even Tony, we're not even that old, bro. And I know that you just can't run your fucking mouth to somebody and not expect to have to throw down at some point. If that's what you're going for, like, that's the end game in a lot of this. Okay. Maybe you don't want to like throw down, but why is your fucking mouth running then? Right. Because that's an end game that you need to fucking start dealing with as a possibility immediately. If you're going to fucking run your mouth to another grown person, right? That's
absolutely. Yeah.
You need to accept that off the bat, that if you're going to be talking shit and somebody fucking slaps you in the mouth, you might have deserved it. Like, of course, but maybe you deserved it. Like, and this guy fucking deserved it clearly.
And I'm always one where I'm definitely pro athlete and pro, the cost of your admission does not give you the ability to say, whatever you want to the performers. Be
absolutely
it
not
sports, comedy, a play, a concert. You get to see the show. You don't get to become part of it. You don't get to talk to the players. You don't get to get into their stuff. It's their job. We don't come to McDonald's and make fun of how you put fries in the fryer. Don't fuck with the athletes.
They're a little undercooked.
They're a little undercooked. And for me, it's so I support Rendon's thing for making his voice heard and putting this fan back in a place that they realistically deserved. But I also understand why the league had to issue the sussy. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, Rendon could have called security over and had the fan removed before it became physical. Yes, the fans started it, but Rendon did escalate. And then the other thing that you have is now that there's a video out there showing him at his limit, some other idiot is going to try and get him there too, and take it one step further because they want to actually fight him.
Yeah.
Because there's those stupid ass people out there like that, and go ahead.
That might have been what the dude was trying to do in the first place. That might have been what he was trying to do in the first. Because why? That's what I don't get about it. Like, we understand that if you do that shit, you're gonna get fucking slapped in the face. Like, so this guy probably most likely knew that this could get into a physical, and maybe he wanted it to get to a physical place because he does keep talking. He keeps going after, like, at that point, if you have another dude, and Anthony Rendon's not a small guy. If you have him walking at you and he's about to fuck you up, you think you go, oh, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually you'll be like, oh shit, I don't want to get fucking beat up by this guy. Like why are you doing that other than if you wanted to, that's what you set out to do? Because you don't think, I mean, that guy's probably gonna get paid some money out of this, right? He probably is. He got physically assaulted, right?
I mean,
technically.
I could see that happening. But I mean, Anthony Rendon, for those that don't know, is 6'1", 200 pounds. That's what he's officially listed at on ESPN.com. That's not a tiny dude.
Brick shit house. Yeah, not a whole lot of fat.
He's very lean. And
great perm.
I mean, why would you want to try and fight a pissed off Mexican anyway? Like,
right.
Only thing I'm approaching a pissed off Mexican for is to see if, like, their grandma needs help making tamales. If I can get some tamales, they need me to loan them some money and they can pay me back in tamales. Like,
go Raiders.
Go Raiders, go Cowboys, go Lakers, whichever they need me to say. I can lie for a little bit if it means I'm getting some fucking tamales. But
I can see in Spanish accent. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
No, but like, why are you going to, why are you going to seek somebody out like that? I don't know why. I don't know why else somebody would want to do that unless they were just trying to get money out of a guy. And the league, while most fans today, a lot more fans are coming around to like the position that we are, like, just leave them alone. You don't like to get yelled at while you're working, just leave them alone. You can boo, you can cheer, but when it comes to stuff like that, like, that's a legit personal attack. That's bullying.
Yeah.
That's not trash talk, good-natured ribbing, Rendon's walking by. He plays for the Angels. He suffers enough. But you're like, oh, hey, bet you wish you were in Yankee uniform so you could win something. That's one thing.
Right.
But when you're calling him over, just calling him a bitch, eventually he's going to snap like one.
Yeah.
But he's going to smack you like a bitch in the process.
Absolutely.
That is a professional fucking athlete that has the elite physical shape that you could only dream of.
What is it? It says a lot about, like, what does it take as a person to just go to a game? Because this guy clearly was like, unless he was intoxicated and it was just like, and something weird happened that he was like super mad at Anthony Rendon or whatever. Doubtful. Like, if he's just going at this dude, that takes a kind of piece of shit individual to, like, go in with the mindset that you're just gonna go fuck with some dude for no reason at all. Exactly. Like, why would you want? Like, it makes you look like a piece of shit. Just like that, you can do that mentally. You can just prepare yourself for that and just, like, do it all night to, like, one guy. It's like, come on, man. Like, that's just it's just trolling. You're being weird and mean. Quite bullying. Yes, you are bullying him, and you're just being very, like, just a piece of shit individual. It takes a lot to, like, do that.
And that's where I have the issue with it, because I understand the league side and why he got suspended. Like, honestly, I get it. But I don't have a problem with what Rendon did. Because, they talk about now how, all this fighting, fighting is bad, you should just talk it out. In the 70s, if you bullied a kid, they just beat the shit out of you. You fought, you got your ass kicked, or you beat them, and then that's what it was. That was the end road. That's where it went. And
yeah,
you know, when we criticize guys for getting to that point, instead of, you know, asking what got him to that point. Well, a drunk nutsack in a whatever jersey that felt it was okay to continually scream and call this guy a bitch, and all he got was slapped.
he got away lucky.
He got away lucky
That he wasn't on the ground with him. Yeah.
that he didn't jump up into the stands and beat the shit out of him.
And I've been thinking a lot about this recently, Tony. You kind of know I'm not going to go into details, but like younger people, teenagers mostly, that is okay. So I knew that like things went to a certain level when I was in high school or when I was a teenager or whatever. And I knew that I did fucked up things, but like that's how it ended for me too. Like you had to fight if you're gonna get in a fucking like some kind of weird spat with somebody, like because they talk shit about you at school or they talked, you know, or you switched girlfriends and boyfriends or whatever fucking stupid shit that is. Like that was the end game. I have fought over the stupidest relationships that I've ever, because that's just how you ended it. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like a finishing part to it, was like this physical, it's just a physical eruption, right? And that's like, it's closure. And we've talked about like best friends in a fist fight before. Like I've held people back from breaking up a best friend fist fight before on several occasions, because I'm like, this is going to help them relax. This has been coming for a while. They need to get this done. Like stop trying to break them up and stop trying to act like they shouldn't be fighting, because obviously that's where both of them know it needs to go. So just let them do it. Let them get it out. They're not going to fucking kill each other. All right. One of them's going to have a black eye and they're going to have a beer later together. And that's what's going to happen. It'll actually fix things more than it will hurt anything, really. Most of the time.
Most of the time. Most of the time.
Obviously, there's outliers.
No, but you're 100% correct. And sometimes it just there's times where it just needs to happen. Like there's this. I would pick up my son today from school for a doctor's appointment that he had. And as I was waiting for him to come up to the office, we'd go to the doctor's appointment. There was this girl that's in his grade that was up in the office, and she was hot. She was like, and you could tell like she was shaking a little bit. She was trying to not snap. And with angry, my son's school, like very angry, like
use angry,
heated.
Not hot.
Okay, heated. We'll use. She was heated. I guess that would be a more appropriate term. I
thought this was going to get weird for a second.
Yeah,
I was like,
fair enough.
All right, Tony.
She was like super heated, and I'm listening because like it's one of those things with ADHD and complex PTSD. I'm hyper aware of everything around me. What trying to eardrop, it was there. And at my son's school, like these kids are allowed to express themselves when they get up, when they're going up to the office because there's a conflict, and get it out. And I like that because it allows them the ability to release that energy that's inside them. And so it's one of the reasons I like the program at the school that he's in. And she's going, this kid pissed me off. He was talking a bunch of trash, and I wanted to just knock him out. Okay.
Thank you for your honesty.
First of all, good job being honest about your feelings.
Right.
And then second of all, she was talking. I realized the kid that she was talking about having a problem with. And first of all, thankfully, it wasn't my son. Second of all, it was a kid that my son has had problems with and is one of those kids that just continually talk shit because nobody's put him in his place. We all know the type. We went to school with the type. They're the type of kid where once they got knocked the fuck out, they shut their mouth.
I was going to say they didn't last for very long usually.
Exactly. Well, that's not the culture anymore. And so you have kids like my son who almost put him through a wall. You have kids like this girl, this young woman who are, like 7th grade, still a child. Yeah, still a child. So this girl is fighting the urge to snap this kid in half because he doesn't understand that you don't just continually talk shit to people, because somebody's not going to have the self-composure that my son and this girl had to not pop him in the face. And he's going to get leveled. And, rule in my house is don't swing first. But like when we were leaving the school and I was talking to my son on the way to the appointment, I was like, is that who she was talking about? Because I figured he probably knew because they have a couple of classes together. He's like, yeah, same kid. And I said, what's the rule? And he goes, don't swing first. And I said, okay. So you know the rule, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, what happens, happens.
Yeah. And like, it kind of sucks too, because now they're not getting taken care of as quickly. So they get kind of like, they can go on like that their whole, that kid's going to go on like that all the way until somebody does something. And it's become, you get in more and more trouble now for doing anything physically, really at all. And so now it's like, they're like, how long is this kid going to be just allowed to just run amok? Because nobody's going to want to, because of it's not like they don't want to. Everybody wants to, but they're worried about the backlash of doing so.
And I understand that there's, there's, we talk about the importance in these situations of there should always be an alternative to violence.
When you're a mature adult.
When you're a mature adult, I get it. But when you're young like that, those hormones are raging and it's a completely different animal. But the other piece of it is when you're an adult, you developed a cognitive ability and a reasoning that doesn't exist at the age of a 13-year-old.
Right.
Most teenagers, most 13 to 16-year-olds really don't have an understanding of basic empathy.
Right. They're still in like what a late level survival mode. Where
exactly. Like
everything is.
It's more of a primal thing. Like we talk about the Lord of the Flies, the accuracy at how primal those kids got. Like I think that story is pretty accurate to what would happen in those situations. Like, it would turn very primal. And I think that there are most people understand you don't talk shit like that. One thing when you're in a game playing a sport, like but that's also a more primal energy. But in your day-to-day with your classmates, no. You treat everybody with respect, everybody treats you with respect. We're all just here to get through this fucking day. It's like bullying somebody at work. Why? They don't want to be there any more than you do.
Right. And the fact that you're making it worse when it's already bad is just making it worse. Like you're not part of any kind of solution to anything. You're not part of any kind of solution.
But at that age, they don't understand that. They haven't had the cognitive development to recognize all of the thought processes that go into those things that we understand as adults. And so sometimes to check somebody, things are going to be a little bit more primal in the response. And yes, that means violence. We should be attempting all of the other roads to get there first.
Yes.
But sometimes that's the only path that's going to get you through the maze.
Yep. And end it. You know what I'm saying? And end it and end the fucking continuous whatever it is, like that perpetual cycle, because that's how a lot of stuff ends, is with people getting their fucking asses kicked, or some kind of physical altercation is how a lot of disputes with people end. And now it's like we're just dragging it out for longer. So like there's more of like a piece of shit stage that's done instead of the situation getting fixed. People are less and less likely to actually strike somebody because you are always the fucking bad guy. Regardless of what was said, regardless of what was done, you're always the bad guy when you go physical and the whole thing, no matter what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, Burr has the never hit a woman thing. He's like, there's never, I don't hit women. He's like, I don't condone it. He's like, but there's never a reason. He's like, you could break me up in a drunken stupor and I'll give you like 7. He's like, what if you come home? He's like, what if you come home from work and she's drowning your 3 kids and she's working on the 4th one? Can you hit her then? He's like, no reason. He's like, what if she leaves you, takes your house, takes your car? He's like, leaves you in an apartment, half your own one. He's like, can you backhand her maybe then? There's no reason. He's like, you shouldn't do it, but like, don't tell me there's no reason to do it. Like, there's reasons for it all the time, and that's what people want to go to. But now everybody's just so scared to do it, especially high schoolers, which they should be able to let some of that stuff out at some point, right?
Well, but and I agree with that. I honestly like there's one thing that I thought was interesting that I don't see in a lot of high schools that I think would actually serve a solid purpose. So in high school PE and ROTC programs, if part of the curriculum included basic martial arts education.
Yeah.
And I mean like basic karate, basic taekwondo, basic jiu-jitsu, whatever, or maybe even as an elective instead of just PE, teach martial arts. Because first of all, this gives kids confidence that need it to know that they can protect themselves,
which is huge,
and which is absolutely huge because that can set them up for a lot more positive things in life. But the other piece with it is now you're leveling the playing field, and not only are you making sure that all of these kids have an understanding of the moves, but also you're helping them instilling discipline, and you can, you're teaching them how to better manage their anger, manage the energy that builds up like that from that more primal energy, as we've called it, and as a result, you're giving them an outlet for that. And hey, sometimes, you know what? On Friday, we're going to do extra practice for karate. You know what? You got a problem with somebody? Step up.
You too. I mean, that's high school sports too. Like that's literally like, dude, I mean, I used to call dudes out in the Oklahoma drill, where you just go, it's literally just one-on-one. You just hit each other right in the middle, and just somebody's got to push somebody else out of the circle. Yeah, because they're how a bunch of them were doing it. This is fucked up. And we did this in high school. This is absolutely fucked. You literally just form a circle, and whoever keeps losing, a coach will just call numbers 51, and dude, just out of nowhere, you have no idea where this guy's at. 360-degree view, just comes and runs at you from 5 yards away, and if you don't see him, you're on the ground. They're gonna lay you out, and coaches can strategically pick who they want to go in the middle and who they can pick to run at the person in the middle, and they do it beautifully most of the time, because you'll get like that dude who just doesn't play physical. Get him in there for a second, let him get fucked up, and let him keep getting hit like that. And how frustrated they get, they're going to start defending themselves. It's going to be one. He's going to stone somebody that comes running out of there, and then you just start picking the smaller kids, obviously, so he can fuck somebody up real quick. And then, yay, confidence. You can fuck somebody up. Bam. That's it fixes a lot of the physicality issues.
It reprograms the response. And I think that there is value in those type of programs, because, we talk, there is importance in having habits of physical activity throughout your adult life. I think like that NFL 60 minutes of play a day isn't just for kids. Like, we should all be trying to be a little bit more active. But when you instill a habit like a martial art in somebody who's in high school, you're instilling confidence in them, and you're giving them something that they're going to be able to utilize in their life, not just in protecting themselves, but in a way to help manage their discipline, manage their stress, and also even just something that they can talk about. I have multiple friends that have higher ranking belts in martial arts. And not only do I know that if I'm going to get my ass kicked, I'm calling them first, but second, I know not to piss them off, because they will kick my ass first. And right. So, it's good to know. So I know which ones not to fuck with, but also I know which ones I'm safe around.
Absolutely.
And, especially when you look at the programs for a lot of these inner city schools, where resources are tight and you're more likely to see kids get jumped and beat up over gang-related activity, teach them how to protect themselves.
Yeah. Because there's two things there. There's the martial arts teaches you very specifically, and like that's part of the main part of it is respecting the violence. Respecting the violence as far as you can't just go in there and if you just go in there doing anything you can to beat the other person, you're going to use there's going to be excessive violence there that isn't needed, correct? Like you're going to kill people. Like people are going to die. And then that's not over what did you kill somebody over? Because you guys are fucking the same girl, like that kind of stuff in high school. Right.
Right.
So there's respect, right. There's respecting the violence, which sports teaches you as well. And you can kind of contain the violence. Like we said earlier, like it's a contained brawl is basically all it is. And it's got rules to it. So you just can't keep going. You can't just fucking, gang up on a dude, just beat him to death. So there's rules to it. And then there's the fight or flight thing, which I've realized we need to definitely try and even out in people. Does that make sense? So a lot of people are just all fight, right? They're just going to stand there. They're just going to stand there and fucking no matter what, they're never going to run. And those people die. And there's the people who flight and just run from everything. And those people die. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually you just run out of room to run in a, philosophical sense.
Right.
We need to program people who are prone to flight to be in the situation and look somebody in the eyes and have a serious conversation. Even it doesn't have to be anything about physical violence. It's like some of these young kids, dude, you look them in the eyes and try to have like a serious conversation about anything. And it's like, they can't, it's just like a turtle shell. Like it just goes up and it's like, oh, okay, I don't want to talk about serious things. Like, does that make sense?
Right. There's such a lingering fear in some of today's younger generation to be challenged on a mental level. There's so much black and white thinking. It's one of the reasons why I think cognitive behavioral therapy should be taught in high school classes. Like, with Taekwondo, think about when you think about PE in high school. You played badminton, you played volleyball, you played basketball, probably, maybe even a little bit of golf, some frisbee, different things like that.
Kickball.
Yeah, that was one of the other ones. Maybe some baseball, maybe a little bit of baseball, a lot of running, soccer.
Yep. Now, from what I understand, is just do whatever the fuck you want. Not joking.
It's my son, the PE class that my son has, like they have different units on everything. They're going through still, like they still have the badminton unit, the basketball unit and stuff like that. And, that's fine. But really, when we think about what is important for individuals to learn, is it more important for your kid to know how to play badminton or to be able to protect themselves? How much think about the young women, the girls at the middle school and high school level that are, that would be much safer if they knew Taekwondo.
Yeah. I don't think my stepdaughter knows it yet, but she's signed up for a Krav Maga training class. She probably doesn't even know it. But we're going to get her in on that defensive. It's just defensive. It's defensive martial arts is from what I understand.
It's more Krav Maga is definitely, from my understanding with the discipline, is it's definitely about using your opponent's momentum against him. Right. And there's some from what I understand, like some different, like there's a little bit of components from like karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. But it's ultimately about using your opponent's momentum against them to get out of the situation. Like it is based on what I understand about it, I think it's the bare minimum that a person should know.
Turning defense into offense, basically. Like, so when somebody is attacking you offensively, they're coming you offensively, you can just, they miss with a punch. They're now completely exposed to you, off balance. Right? There's so many things you can do at that point. Like you can just take them and trip them, throw them to the side. Like that's as simple as that. Throw them on the ground and run. Right? And that's just like shit like that is just like so simple, but Nobody thinks about that. Just square up and start hitting each other in the face. Nobody even like tries to dodge a punch. They're just trying to play offense. And it's like, if you just played a little bit of defense, Floyd Mayweather made a career out of it.
But that's the thing is how valuable would it be? How much more do we not have to worry about our daughters or our sons getting abused by their partner because they know how to defend themselves?
Yeah.
Or at least we can get rid of physical abuse and then start to focus more energy on the mental side. Like, this is a way that we can make progress with a lot of issues and to re-inject some value into the physical education curriculum that we have in schools, because we don't need square dancing. We don't need square dancing. If it's about teaching them the rhythm, the moves that you work on in martial arts teach you rhythm, because they teach you these sequences in a rhythm, because that's how they help you return it into muscle memory, because they know that if opponent approaches like this, like, first off, you need to do the defensive thing, but then how are you going to respond in your attack? And so they teach you these sequences, combos almost, basically, if you want to think about it in gamer terms, in sequences, so that they become muscle memory. Well, guess what? When they teach them that, they have them go through and do it repetitiously. Guess what? You can learn rhythm like that way.
Yes.
They start 2, 3,
yeah,
4, and then and you get faster and faster. That's a way to work on the rhythm. When you've got your son standing in his speed bag going, there's a rhythm to that to do it right. And these are all things that young individuals, boys and girls, anybody else on whatever spectrum you want to argue with, I don't care. There is a supreme value in every individual having that knowledge, because there are so many other habits that can come from one year of basic martial arts training in high school.
Absolutely. And it would benefit. Yeah. Like you said, like, it would have some kind of scale as far as like everybody would feel about their adult life. And obviously you would center it around making sure it's defensive. That we're not going to be teaching fucking drop kicks and shit like this, because then kids are going to use that shit. Like, if you teach them an offensive move, like, it's going to be like, all right, well, we need to go out and be offensive. Just teach them like you said, defend themselves and be able to not get just attacked by somebody, because there's always going to be the hammer. The hammers are always going to be there, right? There's just dudes who's just out there just fucking trying to hit people. It's going to happen. But
all right. So as we wrap up tonight, I was going to say on the Rendon stuff, like, my biggest fear is that somebody is going to escalate this. They're going to keep trying to get him. Somebody's going to try and run out on the field, and they're going to get laid out like that guy at the Giants game.
Yeah.
Which that video, I still laugh my ass off.
Oh yeah.
I made a joke earlier. I said Jerry Jones called that guy and offered the security guard that tackled that guy, and offered him a chance to try out for offensive line.
Gets him with a little blindside. Gets him with a little bit of a blindside shot. The guy's not really watching that one direction. They come at him from like 4 different directions,
and he just tackles him, just takes him out. And she said yes, by the way. I didn't know that, but apparently the chick still said yes, even though he got arrested and charged with disorderly conduct. And will probably spend like 30 days of shock. That's typically what they do to those guys.
Not much, yeah. I mean, not if even that, really, because it's not really
a year of probation.
He's not out there assaulting people. He's just running around on a field. Yeah, he's just running around in public, basically, where he's not supposed to run around in public at its very core.
Well, but I mean, he really wasn't even running around. Like, he just ran out onto the field and turned around and tried to propose to his girlfriend. Like,
yeah,
but
which guys, don't propose to your girlfriend at professional sporting events. Nobody wants to see that. No. I'm trying to enjoy a fucking NBA basketball game. I don't want to see you die inside a little bit. I just don't want to see it. If I want to see somebody die inside a little bit, I'll go watch Dr. Phil or something.
If you want to make a big stunt while making the biggest mistake of your life, record it and put it on YouTube. We'll comment on it later.
Yes, and do it at like a, somewhat sentimental area. I mean, if you and your girl if you guys are season ticket holders and you met there and you're season ticket holders and you guys both love the team and that's something that you bonded over very essentially when you started getting together, then fucking propose to her at a goddamn Yankees game. But I swear to God, if you guys are just doing it because everybody else does it, I'm going to fuck the next person up that does. I swear. I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to call it in and we're going to make sure that thing is annulled before it even starts. Because you are fucked. You didn't put any thought into it besides like, oh, other people do this. I put it on the big screen. I'll pay them. It's like, it's not even if there's no connection to your girl or the vice versa. Why just to do it in public? That seems like you're doing it for like everybody else. It seems like you're doing it for like, hey, look at us getting married over here. Check it out. Getting married over here.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Like there's like for an actual proposal doing it something like that, I think is kind of dumb. But also, and like at a sporting event, like that's super dumb. Don't do that. If you met there, season ticket holder, all of that crap that you just said, no. Still don't do it. Pay for a
Still
cameo.
Don't do it.
Pay for a cameo. Pay for something else. Pay, in the off season, if you call the team like, hey, I want to propose to my girlfriend, can you get one of the guys to come help me out? You'll end up spending about the same as you would have spent to get it up on the Jumbotron, which is a couple grand.
Right.
For
people to go,
they'll be at your house.
Right. It'll be much more intimate and personal, which is what you want a wedding proposal to be. Exactly.
Whereas, like, if you want to have some fun, take a friend of the opposite sex that, it's at least attractive enough that you can make out with once at every bar and fake a proposal at every bar. You won't pay for drinks all night.
That's interesting.
I've seen people do it.
Don't give me low-grade con ideas, Tony, and expect me not to try them.
I mean, if you're not going to be, don't do it in a city where you know a bunch of people and they're going to be like, oh, hey, where's your wife? Where's your husband?
Clearly.
I know you bought me 4 shots of tequila that night, but we were just scamming people for free drinks. That's not going to be an easy conversation. So like, for you, go hit a bunch of bars in Kansas City. Take Alicia, fake propose a bunch of times. You won't have to pay,
funny as fuck,
just
dude.
pay for your hotel, pay for Ubers. You want to pay for anything else, you'll be fine.
I feel like I'm not going to be able to help. I'm not going to be able to help making fake proposal jokes to her as well the whole time. Like, hey, imagine if I was doing this for real. All drunk and shit. Imagine if I was ever going to do this for real, huh? That's so fucked.
She beat the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. For those of you watching, we appreciate you. We hope you'll come see us again. And we'll see you next week right here on Sports Report After Dark.
That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay.